be x to the 2/3. You know, if I subtract 1/3 from up there, it's going to be 1/3 or 2/3 up there, minus 1/2, and this is going to be, let's see, 6/3 minus 1/3, it'd be 5/3 dx. Now I can use my simple integration rules, you know, add 1 to the exponent, divide by the new exponent. It's all going to be simple to find the integrand now, or the antiderivative rather. So let's do that. Let's see, this is going to be 1/2, and then if I take x to the 2/3 plus 1 is going to make that 5/3, and divide by the new exponent, minus, add 1 to the 5/3, 8/3, divide by the new exponent. And again, we agreed we don't need to put plus c because it's always going to be eliminated. Don't forget your vertical line, -8 to -1. Okay. Remind yourself, what is this? Antiderivative. Okay? Yeah, this is, so you could say it's capital F of x, okay, that we've got right here. Okay, so now what we want to do is to take f of, the antiderivative of, and which one do you start with, the top one or the bottom one? Always go from the upper bound, minus f of -8. So if I put -1, and now you have to, well, we really should do one thing next, shouldn't we? When you divide by 5/3, same thing as doing what? Multiply. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see if I can move that stuff down, and we'll take care of that first. So this is 1/2 times 3/5, 3/10. X to the 5/3. This will make it easier when we start doing our work here. Minus, divide by 8/3, the same as multiplying by 3/8. So this would be 3/16. Yep. X to the 8/3. And we integrate from -8 to -1. Okay, now that we've got that, we can use this in a little better manner here. Okay, so f of -1. Let's see, that's 3/10 times, you know, the 1/3 power is the cube root. That makes it easier, at least for me, to think about. So what's the cube root of -1? -1. What's -1 to the 5th power? Stays negative. Okay. Minus 3/16. Now here is where a lot of people make a mistake. What am I going to put in here? Yeah, a lot of people want to put -8 in there. It's too soon, okay? Because I've got to go through -1 through the entire antiderivative before I can move to replacing the 8. So again, it's -1 to the cube root. So what's -1 to the cube root? Well, it's, well, the cube root of -1 is still -1. -1 to the 8th power makes that what? Positive, doesn't it? Okay, the negative turns to positive, okay? I have put -1 in here. Now I say subtract, and now I must go through the same thing and put in -8. Okay, so now I go back and I have 3/10. The cube root of -8. What multiplied to itself 3 times gives you -8? -2. Okay, -2. -2 to the 5th power. Now we know your 2's powers tables. It's not to an odd root, so it's going to be negative, and it's -32. You can check me on that. Make sure I did that. Okay. Minus 3/16. Now I got to take the cube root of -8 again. That's -2. But now I'm going to take -2 to the 8th power. Is that going to be positive or negative to the 8th power? Positive. Anyone know what 2 to the 8th power is? It's more than that. 256, yeah. Okay. So I've got f, the antiderivative with negative 1 put in there, minus the antiderivative with negative 8 in there. You know, at this point, it's just arithmetic. And I don't say that as if it's easy. They're going to have some really ugly fractions that could come up here. Not in this problem, but in some others. And so in order to just be able to get to something else, I'm just going to say, you guys can figure it out. That's what ... is today. You guys can figure it out. The answer should be 4569 divided by 80, or approximately 57.11, I can't read my writing, something, okay? And if I'm finding area, this would be square units. Now, how can we check this? If I did it graphically, what would I put in as f1 of x? I would have to put the original in, yeah. I would put all of this in as f1 of x. And when I looked at that graph, I would want it to go from negative 8 to negative 1. Now, based on what I said on the last one, do you think this curve is above the input axis or below? Again, Nick? Above, because it's positive. Yeah, and you can check that and see, but it is above. Now, let me show you another way to check your answers, okay? Because I want you to have all the tools you can in order to check your work. Go to a calculation page. Menu, calculus, integral. We've been there before. Menu, calculus, integral. And before I said ignore these, you know, these spots here, these places. We're not going to ignore them anymore. We're going to go from negative 8, tab, to negative 1. Okay, so our boundaries go in those places. Tab, and now we're going to put in that fraction. So we need a fraction, and I'm reading off of mine here. X minus x squared, and divided by 2 times the cube root of x. And don't forget, this requires us to put in that differential. It's important to put that differential in there because why? Yeah, what does it tell us? The what now? Yeah, the input variable. It tells, because you know, I could put A's in here if I wanted to, but then this would have to be reflected by putting an A there. So let's put an X there. And press enter. There's our answer. Okay? And we can find an approximate, of course. 57.1125. Okay, so now let's go back. When you see, whoops, what on earth did I do? Okay, what I meant to do was this. There we go. When you see this notation that's in yellow, and I ask you, because this will be a section 5 point extra here, and I ask you, what does this symbol represent? What will you tell me? Take a moment and think about what sentence you would write down. What does this notation